Hello and a very good morning, everyone. How are you today? Yesterday was a very good trading day, and we also had a webinar yesterday, a live market analysis. And we were looking at the UK pound, the euro dollar, and also the USD CAD pairing. So, for yesterday at about 8 p.m., we began our live market analysis, and just before the live webinar ended at 9 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time. We were looking at the Euro USD pairing, and there was a question on where will the Euro USD move in the next few hours. And personally, I was looking at the Euro USD to move down. So just at about 9 p.m. onwards, as the webinar ended, okay, the euro dollar did actually go down from a high of 1.1452. I was looking at it to go down from 1.1437, and within the next few hours it went down to a low of about 1.1400. Okay, so yeah, that was the market analysis for yesterday, and also the movement and direction of the euro US dollar during the US trading session. Okay, so we were also looking at the USD CAD during yesterday's market analysis, which was uploaded on Facebook and YouTube at about 1 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time. And as we were looking at it, we were also expecting the Canadian dollar to strengthen against the USD. Okay, so based on certain support resistances and consolidation phases that the USD CAD was going through, and also the fact that for yesterday we had the Bank of Canada monetary policy report at 10 p.m. together with the crude oil inventories report at 10:30 p.m. Okay, so so all of that coincided to continue to push down the USD CAD by a total of about almost 100 pips, about 95 pips all the way down. Okay, so let us have a quick look and see what is coming up for today. For today, Thursday, 16th of July 2020, the economic calendar is pretty packed. As early as this morning at 10 a.m., we had China releasing quarterly GDP numbers. So the GDP data came in at one second. Okay, so the GDP data came in at a healthy 3.2%. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this morning's GDP, quarterly GDP from China came in at a healthy 3.2% versus market expectations of a 2.2%. Okay, so early this morning also, Australia announced their employment jobs creation numbers, which came in at 210,000 jobs created, which was way better than the 106,000 that the markets was expecting. Okay, unemployment rates jumped up a little bit to 7.4% versus market expectations of 7.2%. So this was the announcements made this morning. We were going to have a look and see what other events are coming up today. So in terms of economic data, it started off pretty well this morning with positive numbers from Australia and also from China. Later on at about 2 p.m., which is another 2 hours from now, we will be having a set of data from the UK, starting with the claimant count change, followed by the average earnings index, and also the unemployment rates. Okay, so markets are expecting the claimant count change to come in at 250,000 jobs. 250,000 UK citizens submitting for unemployment benefits. So claimant count change is pretty much similar to the US version of the unemployment claims. So again, markets are expecting it to come in at 250,000. Unemployment rate is forecasted to come in at 4.2%. Again, if the numbers come in below 4.2%, theoretically that is a positive news, and theoretically again it should be bullish for the UK pound. Okay, so moving on later towards the evening session, at 7:45 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time, we will be having the European Central Bank's monetary policy statement, followed by a press conference at 8:30 p.m. So during this monetary policy statement from the ECB, they are expected to be announcing extra quantitative easing or stimulus plans to support the Eurozone economy. Okay, so that would be at 7:45 p.m. and we will be expecting chart patterns, volume and movements to start forming as early as 4 p.m. Okay, leading all the way to the 7:45 event, or if it doesn't happen between 2 to 4 p.m., then watch out for 7 p.m. onwards. Okay. Moving towards the US economic data at 8:30 p.m., we will be having the monthly core retail sales data and also the unemployment claims data. Again, a quick look at the market forecast for the core retail sales numbers. It is expected to come in at a 5% reading, and also for the unemployment claims data, markets are expecting 1.25 million Americans filing for unemployment or social benefits. Okay, so the unemployment claims numbers has been stabilizing at around the 1.3 million mark for the last 3 weeks or so. So hopefully tonight's data would come in even healthier or even better or lower than the market forecast. Okay, natural gas storage will be announced for 10:30 p.m. and of course, last but not least, FOMC member Mr. John Williams will be speaking at 11:10 p.m. Okay, so it's going to be a busy economic calendar, and it was also a very busy day for currencies yesterday and also this morning as we were speaking just now. Okay, so we're going to have a quick analysis on what happened to the US dollar before we move on to the technical charts analysis section. So this will be the economic calendar for today. Pretty busy, pretty packed. Other events or news which happened over the last 24 hours, as we saw briefly, the US dollar was weak for the UK trading session. However, towards yesterday's US trading session at about 9 p.m. Okay, 9 p.m. onwards, the US dollar did manage a decent recovery, and yeah, it was mostly trying to consolidate at the moment. Okay, so the major move was bearish from at about 1 to 2 p.m. onwards, local Singapore and Malaysia time, all the way until 8 to 9 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time. Okay, so for yesterday's economic data, the UK announced released economic data which showed us that consumer price index or consumer price inflation was improved at 1.4%, better than market forecast of 1.2%. And also during the evening, the Empire State Manufacturing Index, Empire State refers to the New York Manufacturing Index, came in at a very, very healthy 17.2 reading, way above the market expectations of a 10.0 reading. Okay, so industrial production activity also increased, coming in at 5.4%, better than market expectations of 4.5%, and also capacity utilization was better than market expectations of 67.9%. Okay, overnight also the Bank of Canada did not change their main financing rate, maintaining at 0.25%. And at 10:30 p.m. we had the crude oil inventories numbers. Markets was expecting crude oils to contract or to reduce by 1.3 million barrels of crude oil, and the numbers came in at a reduction of negative 7.5 million. Okay, so this means that supplies of crude oil are lower than even forecasted. Okay, so theoretically that is good for oil prices, and we do see oil prices initially coming down over here initially at about 1600 hours plus 5 is 21, which is 9 p.m. just before about one and a half hours before the 10:30 p.m. announcement. And as the data was released, we do see the oil prices pushing back up. Okay, So this was yesterday at about 1600. 1600 plus 5 is 21, which is 9 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time. Crude oil prices initially went down first from $41.10 all the way to $40.28, going down about 82 cents. Okay, and then after only at about over here, this one, okay, 1730 plus 5 is 2230, which is 10:30 p.m. When the crude oil inventories data was announced, we do see the oil prices moving up even further from $40.64 all the way to a high of $41.41. Okay, so the combination of the Bank of Canada monetary policy event and also the event of crude oil inventories announcement both provided a lot of volatility for crude oil prices and also for the Canadian dollar. Okay, so you can see over here, Canadian dollar also started to move down aggressively at pretty much 1700 plus 522, which is 10 p.m. Okay, 10 p.m. as this data was announced, the Bank of Canada monetary policy report. Personally, I personally experienced that. Based on my personal experience, it is not a necessity to go and read into the details of the announcement or the result or the report, as by the time you finish reading the details, the prices would have moved a lot. Okay, so again, it's all about understanding the operating hours of the main financial time zones. In terms of the economic events, is to roughly gauge what event is coming out in the evening and what event is coming out in the afternoon, just for us to get an idea of the extent of movement which will be occurring either in the afternoon or during the evening. Okay, so again, leading up to the 10 p.m. event of the Bank of Canada and also leading up to that major move at 10 p.m., we already saw that the Canadian dollar was actually strengthening all the way, okay, even as early as yesterday. So yeah, okay, so so those are the data that came out for over the last 24 hours from the UK and also from the US, and in particular also Bank of Canada's monetary policy statement. Okay, so let us move on to the technical charts analysis section.